I mentioned a little bit earlier the telephone part. Often a first-round interview can be over the telephone. So there's two components I want to stress here. One is, no matter if you have a phone interview or not, update your telephone, phone voicemail. Try to make it as professional and not all whatever unprofessional that you might have it now. Just a special thing. We've heard some pretty funny stories from employers about that. Might not check on that. And if it is a phone interview, again, as Jay said, this isn't rocket science, but try to prepare yourself like it is an in-person interview. Make sure your cell phone's charged. Try to find a quiet space. There are many advantages of a phone interview, and that is one of them mainly being you could have notes out right in front of you. You could have the internet open to the company's website. If you feel comfortable with that, take that to your advantage. This might sound really corny, but I've heard people have success during a phone interview wearing a suit, wearing what they might have worn or whatever might be comfortable to the actual interview. Some people wear pajamas and sit on their bed. That works for you too. But a phone interview is a common way for a first-round interview, so come by and talk a little bit more about that. In the consulting field, there's something called a case interview. You'll get a lot more information about this in a workshop. Questions at that time are more like, how many sticks of gum were sold in the U.S. last year? You might have some friends who are alums that went through this field on this type of interviewing. Although it's kind of comical at first, they are really looking for an answer, but they're more looking for the process about how you go thinking about the answer, how you get there. Again, there's a workshop about that during consulting week, so look out for that. One thing often not done during the interview, and again, it's not rocket science, I want to make sure you need to ask questions to the employer. There's usually time at the end for about 2 or 3. And again, I want to make sure to not point out the obvious here, but I push you to try to not ask a question you can just find on the website, plain and simple. Try to find something a little bit deeper, a little bit more probing, something that really shows your interest. And if all else fails, you really can't think of a good question, it's okay to ask what time frame do you wish to make a decision in. And that leads to this slide. So following up. After the interview, think about what you did well, what you did poorly on, what you can improve. Write that thank you note, of course. But if the employer says they're going to be in touch in 2 weeks, and you dutifully note down 2 weeks in your calendar or whatever you use, it's okay to follow up. More often than not, sometimes I hear a student, oh, I haven't heard anything. And I say, well, did you follow up? I wasn't sure how to do that. Certainly we can talk more specifically about how to do that, but I do want to make sure you know that there is a difference between being persistent and being annoying. So know that fine line, and again, come talk to us if you have any questions. All right. So what we're saying here, in case you missed it, is to act strategically. Take action, but be strategic about it. You've learned about researching a little bit, networking, and interviewing, some fine-tuned things that you'll develop here. And you can now take advantage of the hidden job market. Approximately 60 to 70% of all job seekers find their work through this hidden market. Yes, it's important to apply to jobs on Mojo, to look in the newspaper, do other things, but do not diminish the impact of how networking should be your primary amount of time. I often say, if you want to break it down, 50, 60, 70% or more of your time should be networking, and the other 20, 30, or 40 should be on Mojo applying to direct jobs. All right, 2 more slides. You're being very patient. I know we're a little bit over. So, Senior Recruiting 101, just a few terms that you might have heard at senior meeting, a couple different ways that you can use Mojo, and that you might see these terms in there. Again, we do this workshop now because the first resume deadline is September 22nd. That's coming up very soon. Information sessions happen all the time. Not every employer does them, but even if you're remotely interested, show up for the information session often the night before, maybe the on-campus interviews. You heard about the off-campus interview days. Again, just to remind you, September 29th is the first deadline. So putting it all together, assess yourself. You heard a lot of things, maybe even scared you just a wee bit. Explore your options. You've heard some powerful tools, heard about some powerful tools we have, and try to conduct that effective job search both with the toolkit and these life skills that you can put together. And last but not least, just a few of the upcoming events. Resumania, you heard a little bit about this, but I want to make sure the people that are thinking about graduate school do not feel left out. There's only a workshop, but there's a fair. There's 56, I think it is, graduate schools already registered. And for those people that don't know, have any idea what they want to do, there are not 1, 2, but 3 senior assessment workshops this semester, as well as some theme week coming up. Careers in the Common Good, Education, and Communication. So that's it, folks. Thanks very much. Have a good night.